Hey everyone! Welcome to the opening ceremonies of the Battleship Brawl Season 3. So I'm not going to go over all of the rules here because you can come to the forum and look through them yourself. I'm going to go over a few of the highlights, the big changes. All right, one big change here: 1273mm minimum gauge. Cram cannon's only weapon must be 1273mm in size or larger. That's 15 gauge increasers. Okay. Uh, Same things banned as they were in the previous seasons. Excessive clipping rules. Uh, if you place a block on a turret, and that block, well, you know what? You can read it. It's if you clip excessively, the design is not going to be allowed. The only clipping that's really allowed is if the barrels of a weapon move on their own, not counting the rotation of a turret, of a turret block, a sub-object. If the barrels themselves just, elevate or traverse through other blocks, that's okay. But if the basic rule of thumb here is if your turret rotates and it passes through another turret's block, if that block would prevent the turret from turning were it mounted to the hull rather than on a sub-object, then that's excessive clipping. It won't be allowed. Max speed, 22 meters per second. Okay? And your yaw rate has to be smooth. Like when the ship turns, it has to be smooth and look natural. If it starts doing the shaky jitters while it's turning, it won't be accepted. The maximum range has been increased to 1750 meters. Those vessels will still be spawning at 1500. I just gave a little bit more room since these are going to be bigger ships because we only allow one vessel this time. No multi-vessel entries. Oh, also they're 250,000 materials each rather than 200,000. But since it's a single vessel and they're a little bit more clunky, I gave a little bit extra room to maneuver in. Centralized resources as usual, 20,000 materials. Automatic detection will be set to 0.99. This will allow you to use the detection equipment to get to do various things, but you don't need it. With the 0.99, that's not going to make, if you don't use it, it's not going to have any noticeable effect on the accuracy of your weapons. I'll be using Wootness's tournament mod for this. If your vessel goes too far, or if it somehow ends up in the sky or under the water, it's going to get penalty time, and if it reaches 66 seconds of penalty time, it explodes and it's been eliminated. Biggest change, though, is the tournament format. Instead of doing a closed tournament where everybody gives me their entries and then I set up a bracket and they fight through the bracket and we have a winner at the end, it's going to be more open, like, sort of it's not exactly like Jimmer's propane tournament, but it's the same basic idea in that you will be able to submit multiple entries to the tournament, and you can do it through the entire life of the tournament rather than having to have everything in by a deadline. The way it'll work is each entry you'll be given 3 lives when you're introduced, okay? If you lose a battle, you lose a life. If you win a battle, you gain half a life. If you run out of lives, your ship is retired. If you get to 0 lives or less, your ship is retired. 0.5 lives means you're still alive, okay? If you get to 5 lives, then you will be added to the Hall of Champions. You basically, you're not winning the tournament per se, but you have proven your battle prowess and your ship is good and it is being retired in a good way. Rather than being destroyed, it's being put up as an example of a good vessel. And it'll be posted here in the forum and whatnot with little things about that. Another option for that, you can get there by just staying alive for 10 battles. If you manage to fight 10 battles and at the end of your 10th battle still have a life remaining, then you will be retired and added to the Hall of Champions. There's another hall, there's actually 2 more halls, but the next hall is the Hall of Beauty. The way that'll work is it'll be done by a vote on the video that the vessel is being retired on. I will put a comment saying, yes, this should be added, this deserves to be in the Hall of Beauty, or no, this doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Beauty. You will upvote the comment that you agree with, okay? If you think it should be a beauty queen, then upvote the one that says yes, it should be. If you don't think it should be, then upvote the one that says no. Down votes will not count for anything, so don't even bother. I won't even count them. There has to be a minimum of 100 votes total within, I'll give it a week. You have a week when your vessel is retired to, actually, no, a week's too long. I'm not sure exactly how long I'm gonna to wait on that just yet. I'll figure that out here shortly. Because a week going back and trying to, because I could have, in a week, I could have 4 or 5 vessels get eliminated. Trying to keep track of all of those votes is, that'd be a bit difficult. So I might do something like 48 hours instead. I think 48 hours sounds good. Right. So, if you manage to get, there must be a minimum of 100 votes, and 75% must be saying yes. It is very difficult to get in the Hall of Beauty, okay? I didn't want it to be, I wanted it to be just as difficult as becoming a champion, you know? And if you manage to do both, that's where the third hall comes in. That's the Hall of Fame, right? If you get voted in as a beauty queen, and you get, and you manage to battle your way into the Hall of Champions, then you'll be added to the Hall of Fame. And I will do a much more prominent, much more visible exposure of your ship in the forum here. Give a little story about its journey through the tournament. Do a description. You know, I will probably do a more in-depth video to try and decipher why it was so good. But that's going to be very difficult. Being able to make a vessel that is strong enough to become a champion and still looks good enough to be a beauty queen is going to be very difficult. If you manage to do that, congratulations. So the battle production schedule and format will be set up. Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays will be what I call League Battle Days. League Battle Days are where 2 entries that have already been introduced will fight each other. Tuesday and Thursday will be New Challenger Days. That will be me putting a new challenger from the waiting queue into the tournament, and they will fight one of the vessels that have already been introduced, right? Saturday and Sunday, I probably won't be putting many videos out on the weekends. I'm gonna keep taking the weekends off because that's helping keep me from burning out. The way the contestants will be determined. Yes, determined. New challengers obviously get first priority, and then it will be up to the fewest battles fought will be the next priority. And then if the fewest battles fought, if everybody's fought the same number of battles, then the one with the most lives remaining gets priority and it is put into the next battle. If that's equal, then it goes by seniority. The vessel that is that was submitted first will get priority. However, I do reserve the right to adjust who fights who based on things like if the bracket is if the active field is getting full, I might decide to skip a new challenger day and do a league battle instead. You know, stuff like that. I'm going to try and keep everything as balanced as I can, and I won't do this often. Like, I won't upset the order too often, but I may do it if I feel that I need to do so in order to keep things going smoothly. Finally, the match will only be a single round. 1 round. 15 minutes maximum. If you go the distance at 15 minutes, a 5% difference in HP is required to declare a winner. If there is not a 5% difference, the battle is a draw and neither entry gains or loses any lives. Okay? Each entry will only face each other once. Okay? That's it. You fight each other once, and then you move on and you fight the others. Okay, this is important right here. That's why I made it big, bold, and underlined it. and why I'm going to point this out specifically. Submissions are only accepted via forum PM and email. If you post it to the forum itself, I'm going to assume you are sharing it for people to look at and test against, and not submitting it, because it is going to be very difficult for me to keep track of all of these entries and keep things organized with just doing the PM and email. It is too much. It is too difficult to try and keep track of things posted to the forum. Like, I can so easily miss that. That's too much of a headache. Do not post it to the forum if you are if you're wanting to submit it, because I won't take it. If you send it to a PM via forum PM, you can't directly attach files via a forum PM. You'll have to use a third-party file hosting service like Dropbox in order to get it to me. Okay, for the final bit, you can only have one entry in the active field, basically out there fighting, and one entry in the waiting queue. If you have an active entry when your vessel comes up to the top of the queue, instead of introducing that vessel, I'll send you to the bottom of the queue and fight the next one instead. You can only have one active entry at a time. Another thing is you may update your designs while you're waiting, but if you make any significant change, basically if you change any actual blocks around, for the most part, if it's anything more than just changing a setting in a local weapon controller or on the AI or something like that, then I'm going to treat it as you are removing your previous entry from the queue and then submitting this new vessel that is the changed one, and thus you will go to the bottom of the queue. Okay? Now you might be wondering, how are we going to keep track of all of these different things? Well, if you click this link here, I already had one link of it open here. It'll take you to the BB Brawl Season 3 Standings Google Docs page. You can see the BB64 and Death of Virtue by Shield Mate, and the BB64 Wisconsin by Nutter Chap, I forgot to say his name, are already on here. Okay, I have a page that I'm not. This is publicly available. Like this will be linked in the description. But I have an admin page that is not going to be public available, where I can keep track of the wins and losses and who has fought who. And see, I can put that in there, and it will change those things over here and keep track. And it's color coded, so you can see who's doing well and who isn't at the moment. And it even keeps track of battles fought. You know, it automatically imports it using the import range function. It's neat. But yeah, so that's basically it. That's all that's really all I wanted to go over. This forum post will be linked in the description, as will the standings page. So yeah, I think this is going to be fun. I'm going to be putting out the first actual battle tomorrow. This will come out tonight. I'm going to basically render and post this as soon as I'm done recording it. And yeah, I think this will be a good time. Thanks to everybody who's already submitted their vessels. I appreciate it. Hope you guys are having a good holiday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.